Welcome back. Excuse me for that interruption. Interruption to the recording. It's not an interruption when a customer walks into your business. It's an interruption to this recording. That's all I mean by it. I'm not upset about that. So, where were we? I was talking about how Muhammad himself was illiterate. Now, the Muslim community looks at that as a plus because that is the miracle of the Quran, because they say, how could an illiterate person have something like this come from him? So clearly, because he is illiterate, this book of the Quran was written by the angel Gabriel. The story goes that Muhammad used to go to this cave, Haran, this cave anyway, and meditate, and probably most likely after he was sort of kicked out, if you will, from surrounding fellowship, be it Jewish or Catholic, but he was kicked out of this whatever. He was meditating, and then the angel Gabriel came to him and said, I am the angel Gabriel of God, and read. He holds up a book to him and says, read. And Muhammad says, I'm illiterate, I can't read. And the angel Gabriel says, he pushes him up and, chokes him type thing and says, read. And he says, I can't read. And then he says, okay, well, I'm going to dictate this Quran to you. You're to dictate it to whoever is listening, and they're going to write it out. And so, 1, 2, skip a few, now we have the Quran. And then there's another collection of material that you can look up online, is the Hadith, Hadith, which is again sort of like the Talmud, a collection, but instead it's a collection of sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. So sort of like the Book of Mormon is an introductory book for the Mormons, and then instead they'll read Doctrines and Covenants and Studies in the Scriptures. Oh, I think I just mixed Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons. But sort of like that, the Quran is sort of like the initiation book that everybody who's a Muslim should have on hand and know, but they'll also read the Hadith and the sayings, the collected sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And I've read one book of the Hadith by, Salih al-Bukhari. And there's some collections of the sayings that aren't as as weak. Some are weaker or stronger in support of this, that he actually said this, because some were reported by his friends and some were reported by people who weren't so close to him. So there's, levels of credibility between the different hadith. And not only that, but there was the succession of children and relatives of Muhammad that after he died, felt they should carry on being the leadership of Islam. And so you have some direct conflicts and problems between people who want to follow after his descendants as the leaders of Islam, and then people who don't. You have the Shiites who you'll see pictures of them cutting themselves and their children's heads and bleeding, walking through the streets, and they're mourning the death of one of the family members of the Prophet. And then you have the Sunnis, who are more moderate and are liberal in their beliefs, and the ones I know didn't follow the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, but they followed the teachings of Islam on their own, and the whatever imams are around. And imam is just sort of like a speaker at the mosque, and maybe a scholar or teacher of Islam, not so much so like the rabbis or the priests, but not as